Hey, what's going on? I'm back for another book reading series. I haven't been a while since I did one, but this is this one book I'm not done reading it yet. Got from a really dear friend. It's called The Famished Road. The Famished Road by Ben. I'm probably gonna pronounce his name wrong. Forgive me. Ben Okri. Okari. Ben Okri. Probably pronounced it wrong, but it's a fantasy type book set in regular times. It's not a fantasy like medieval King Arthur, Lord of the Rings, but it's a good book. His descriptions, how I describe things, is amazing. But anyway, you guys should check it out. The Famished Road. All right, let's go read a little bit. After I had bathed, after I had eaten, they made me sit in Dad's chair and asked me to tell them a story. I began telling them when the lights changed in the room and the mighty hands lifted me up and put me on the bed. I saw Dad smiling beneath his bloody bandage. Mom shifted the chair and center table, spread out a mat, and slept on the floor. Dad sat on his wooden chair, smoked peacefully, and lit a mosquito coil. I listened to him, talking to the silent room, asking riddles that only the dead could answer. I slept all night and all day. When I woke up, it was evening. The room was empty. The kerosene lamp burned steadily on the center table. When I first opened my eyes on the new world of home, everything was different. Large shadows everywhere made the spaces smaller. The floor was rough. Long columns of ants crawled alongside the walls. There were ant mounds near the cupboard. An earthworm stretched itself past Dad's shoes. Wild geckos and lizards scurried up and down the walls. At the far corner of the room, a washing lane was slack with the weight of too many clothes. Mounds of objects of trade were all over the place. Her sacks were piled around the cupboard. The blackened pots and crockery and basins were scrambled everywhere. It was as if Mom and Dad had moved in, dumped their possessions wherever there was space, and had never found time to arrange anything. The more I took in the cracks in the wall, the holes in the zinc ceiling, the cobwebs, the smell of earth and gari, the cigarettes and mosquito coil smoke, the more it seemed we hadn't moved at all. Everything felt the same. The only difference was that I wasn't used to the sameness. The light in the room was dull in the evening. Mosquitoes and fireflies had come in. The dying fly buzzed his last song up on the ceiling among the nests of cobwebs. The lamplight kept fluttering. Its black smoke drifted up to the ceiling. The smell of burning wick and kerosene smoke reassured me I was home. And being at home was very different from being in the comfortable house of the police officer. No spirits plagued me. There were no ghosts in dark spaces. The poor who also belonged to one country. Our surroundings were poor. We didn't have a bathroom worth speaking of, and the toilet was crude. But in that room, in our home, I was happy because I could smell the warm presence and the tender energies of my parents everywhere. Good book.